Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing another movie review for you all. This movie is a horror film from the United States, English language, released in the year 2023, directed by Chuck Konzelman and Kerry Solomon. This film is called Nefarious. So Nefarious is about a prisoner who is awaiting execution. The execution day has arrived, but before he's executed he needs to be deemed sane and fit for execution. So a psychiatrist comes into the prison, he interviews this prisoner, and he's going to determine whether or not he is in fact insane or he is fit for the chair. So along the way, the back and forth in the conversation, this psychiatrist starts to realise something else might be going on, and before he knows it, things are going to get very complicated and he may have passed the point of no return. So what happens at that point on is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Nefarious. I wanted to see this film for two reasons. Number one was the type of movie that this is. This is a movie that relies heavily on dialogue. So it's not your standard horror film, and if you don't like that kind of thing, this movie is not for you. But I love this type of film, because when it's done properly, they're very memorable, because it's not often that you see this type of thing. So one of my favourite films of all time is The Interview with Tony Martin and Hugo Weaving. I thought that was sensational, and Nefarious reminded me of The Interview. So I thought, alright, well, I really want to check this out. And for this movie to work, it really needed a strong script and acting, and so whether or not it was going to deliver that, the curiosity levels were through the roof. And number two, the second reason why I want to see this film is the controversy that it created. A lot of people hate this movie because of the political message that it delivers. Now I can really shift my political beliefs aside and treat a film for what it is, an experience, but a lot of people can't. So people are basically slandering people that like this movie and vice versa, and so all that controversy creates a lot of intrigue, and so that was another reason why I wanted to check this movie out. So not knowing exactly what to expect, after watching Nefarious, I will say that I really like this movie. Now I know a lot of people are going to be upset by that, but I don't care. These brutally honest reviews, and I review movies based on what I think. So if you want to have a hissy fit because of the fact I liked a film that had a political message that you didn't like, then my channel is not for you. And so this is a film that really knows what it takes to make this kind of movie work, and that is a really strong script. This is a very thought-provoking script, and I thought as though there were issues I had with it that I'll mention in the negatives, but the majority of this film really had me guessing, and it really had me thinking about life. And so for the script to work, it needed really good acting performances, and the acting performance from Sean Patrick Flanery was absolutely phenomenal. It's a travesty that he didn't win any awards for this performance, because I thought it was very creepy, very sympathetic, and very curious. There's a lot of ambiguity to this character, and you're never quite sure what is going on. Is he actually playing mind games on this psychiatrist, or in fact is he telling the truth? And not knowing and having those questions unanswered creates that whirlwind of discomfort, and the discomfort is really intensified through the very uneasy atmosphere that the movie creates. Majority of this movie takes place inside this interview room. There are things that happen in this interview room that is either coincidence or in fact is something else going on, and so not being able to put your finger on what was going on exactly, that sense of no control, I thought was really good. And so that was something that I appreciated more than anything. So Sean Patrick Flanery's performance is enough to watch the movie by itself, really, but it's the thought-provoking material that it produces that I thought was the movie's biggest positive. So the film does have a very strong political message, and that was something that I didn't like about the film. I thought as though it was hitting you over the head a lot, but fortunately, as I said, I could push that aside and just treat a film for what it was, and it does pose questions that I definitely thought as though it would create discussion. But unfortunately, at the end of the film, it really paints it in black and white, and so it loses the ambiguity. And so the movie, The Interview, what made that movie so good is that you draw your own interpretation. But the political message that this movie is driving through, I thought as though having it in black and white was a little bit of a letdown, because the ambiguity would have created that interpretation, and the interpretation creates a lot of discussion. And so I just thought as though a little bit more grey area by the time the movie finished would have been a lot better. I thought the psychiatrist character, I didn't really like him too much. I thought as though the prisoner, Sean Patrick Flanery's character, really stole the show, but he didn't have anyone on that level to really complement it. So yes, I was intrigued by what was going on, the story behind the psychiatrist, but I just didn't really enjoy that character as much as the other one. And so with The Interview, Tony Martin's character was just as good as Hugo Weaving's, and that was the reason why it worked so well, because the back and forth was so suspenseful, whereas this movie I just thought as though the psychiatrist played second fiddle, and it just needed that script to really big up this character to the point where it was a worthy adversary to Sean Patrick Flannery's. And so that was something I didn't really like. And right at the end of the film, I thought as though it was quite eye-rolling, and that really didn't match the majority. It didn't really need that. So the movie doesn't really know how to finish. But pushing that aside, as I said, the script is fantastic. It does have a little bit of much of a political message, which is a slight negative, but I know a lot of people out there really hate this film because of that. And so if you can't accept the fact someone might have a different opinion to you, then, as I said, movie reviews are definitely not for you. Just watch films and judge films on what you think, and just don't listen to anyone else, because it's going to upset you. But for me, I'm willing to put my political beliefs aside and actually judge a film for the experience. And so if it sounds like your kind of thing, go out there and see it. I'm going to give Nefarious 4 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, watch movies, and I'll see you later.